Oscar can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around, we're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging. And to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Racer Nexus here, broadcasting Throttle Freaks Week 7 in their GT3 series. Tonight, we're at Brands Hatch. This track opened in 1950. We're running the Grand Prix circuit tonight. This circuit has been in use as it stands since 2003. So, we're located in Kent, UK. Like this track at 3.916 kilometers, 2.433 miles, 9 corners. Not a whole lot of runoff here. Gonna be an interesting race with a big field of racers. I'm Richard Swindells. In the booth with me tonight, Stephen Kernick. On production, Rob Campbell. And as always, cameras by Track Cams 22. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you very much, and I am excited to be here. Brands Hatch, a circuit that many iRacers know incredibly well due to the Formula Ford Festival, an incredible circuit for GT3 racing, but also a track that looks simple on paper, but can catch you out every step of the way. Going into Stirling Moss, Podium Hill, big accidents can happen, but it also requires a lot of skill to run nose to tail around this very, very tight circuit, and also can end up with little touches like we just saw on screen.
Yeah, certainly. There's not a whole lot of space out there, and these drivers in open qualifying fighting for all the track space they can get, but we've got a little bit of season results so far. Right now, season 5 here in the pro category. Joshua Chinsky's got himself a pretty strong 30-point lead over Travis Newsom in second. Tyler Cato close behind, 7 points back in third. Then we have Herbert Pineda, David Bush a third, rounding out your top 5.
And taking a look at our pro, and Felix Feliz has been on top of his game with 242 points, but the fight for second has been heating up. Seb Gautier sitting with 213 points, Jason Park on 211 points, going in really trying to close up the gap. Colin McKenzie on 198, and Andrew Trickett rounding out the top 5 on 192. So don't blink, the Pro-Ams are going to be a fight out for second and third.
In the amateur category, Dave Jensen's got a strong, well, not as strong, but he's got a healthy 7-point lead over David Morris, who's had a couple of unfortunate races this season, but Caleb Sellner is sneaking his way right in there. He's in third, just 1 point down. Ian Cabana a few points back, and Cesar Jimenez rounding out your top 5.
Absolutely great stuff, and it's also about the team championship as I-75 Motorsports, after a dominating run at Fuji, currently leads the charts. SRT Purple holds on to second place. Madworks Lunatics holds on to third. SRT White followed by Riot Motorsports holding on to your top 5. Lane Pipe Lunatics, Crikey Esports, Parabola Azure, SRT Black, and SGE Esports round out your top 10.
Wow, lots of racing and lots of cars here tonight. Got to about halfway through qualifying here. Take a look at our points leader, Josh Uchinsky. He wasn't supposed to be here tonight. Made a last-minute call, I guess, and got lucky and was able to get himself into the driver's seat just in time to set himself a great qualifying effort. Right now, he's top of the heap.
Doesn't want to get caught out and leave a few points on the table, but that being said, the competition are going to make sure he's going to have to work for it. Tyler Cateau currently fighting his way out. Second place in our qualifying. Got to remember that Tyler was one of the front runners at Fuji. It was nose to tail and they left the field. Now looking to see what they can do here at Brands Hatch.
Taking a look on the big screen there, David Bush III. David Bush III representing the very nice Lamborghini back to his customary livery right now. I guess the Madworks Lunatics team just looking to see what's going to happen next and which cause they're going to support next. Matt Sheriff also there as a teammate. Whoa, we got a little car off to the side there. There's somebody trying to get out of the way.
All of that being said, we've also got to talk about this is one of the very few times Throttle Freaks has gone to Brands Hatch and going to be racing towards the top. So there was a little bit of a discussion with the admin saying, right, we got to make sure not to have a huge problem here for round 7. So it's all about keeping it together. But next round we head out to Adelaide, followed by Suzuka and Montgomery Core, rounding out our 10-round championship. So every points are crucial here around the Throttle Freak circuit of Brands Hatch. However, it's going to be one that many drivers know from official racing, know from other leagues, but first time for Throttle Freaks.
Yeah, first time for Throttle Freaks, and I'm going by memory here a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, the pit lane mighty short, and there's only so many pit stalls, and that's something I think drivers are going to have to be very, very conscious of today, or conscious of tonight, because I can recall having the very first pit stall, and if you're not paying attention, you're past it before you know it, and your night's over. So hopefully the drivers are paying very close attention to where their pit stalls are here at Brands Hatch.
Another little factor they've got to also take into consideration as you're heading into the inside of the circuit on the back end, you can quite easily pick up incident points just by crossing over the curb a little too much, and that can also hamper the one's race. And something we've seen, Richard, more than once, drive-through penalties going and costing races and throwing people all the further back, as Jason Park at the moment running in 4th place, trying to get some pace underneath him. A little bit different to what people usually see in iRacing. We don't have solo qualifying, we have open qualifying, which allows drivers to be out on the track all together. But on a circuit like this, it's fantastic for a slipstream. However, if you're wanting to get a clean lap in with the huge field we have tonight, 30 cars so far qualified, looking at 34 cars total out on track. Well, it's not the easiest to get a little bit of breathing room to go flat out.
Well, definitely not. It's going to be interesting to see how these 34 drivers navigate this course. So far, it looks like they're getting through fairly cleanly in qualifying. The drivers at the front are they're the drivers we'd expect to be at the front based on the performances this season. So far so good, but it looks like everybody's seeming to get along relatively well on the tight confines here. Going to be interesting to see how the race progresses.
Well, Tyler Cateau currently up into 1st place. William Fenson managing to bring himself up to 2nd, was leading out to the Riot team, managing to get their car right towards the top. And take a look, 6/10 off Tyler, managing to really keep the fight up. Joshua Chinsky holding on to 3rd. Jason Park first of our Pro-Am, holding on to the top 4 as he moves forward. And last of our top 10, Dave Jensen for our GT3 AM class. So it's good to see a number of drivers, doesn't matter where you go and race, whether you're Pro-Am or AM, you still have your shot towards the top. James Hand, however, going and moving forward and looking to be on his villain arc right now, currently in 22nd, wanting to go up in towards the top 15.
Yeah, James Hand, one of our in-car camera cars. Nice to see any drivers if you're looking to get that done. Information's in Discord if you want to have put a shot of yourself driving your car on screen. We're happy to put it up there. Brett Thurman, Bad Santa, currently sitting in 5th place. Nice to see Brett is seeming to have himself a little decent effort in qualifying. As I said that, he gets bumped down by 1 position as Travis Newsom moves up. So drivers really starting to make some moves late in this qualifying session.
Dave Jensen currently holding on to 7th position. His teammate sitting in 17th, Colin McKenzie in the Acura NSX, going and trying to get into the top 10. But Dave Jensen hoping that he can keep ahead of the Lane Pipe Lunatics team. However, Colin runs out a bit wide. Got to be careful, but don't count out the little Acura tonight. It's all about getting the car around the corners as fast as possible. Mid-engines are the best part to it, and when you can go and spool up those turbos, a twin turbocharged engine, well, it just works beautifully, and the tires don't get ground to dust in the Acura over here.
No, Colin McKenzie had himself a solid effort and one of his best finishes in Throttle Freaks last week. Take a look here at Nathan Doogie and Neil Alexander. Neil Alexander, the Parabolic Cobalt team racer, currently 31st right now. So Neil Alexander getting the laps done, and that car is looking mighty fine. That's a great looking Ferrari.
Well, Neil currently 31st, Jordan Walker 30th, and Andrew sitting 32nd. What a way to have the team all put together. Much like David Morse and Brett Thurman sitting for the SRT team, they are running 6th and 7th at the moment, helping each other out. The question is, can they do that in the race? Well, I mean, Richard, we've been around the circuit more than once, and I love it when it comes to single-seater racing. GT racing, a little bit irritated with teammates. They tend to take up the entirety of the circuit, and you do get the little bit of a scratch off. Maybe I can put my nose in on the apex, but unfortunately that can send your teammate into the dirt. What would be the game plan for the teams tonight to ensure that they work with one another for the team championship, but also not sacrificing crucial points for the driver championships?
I think you answered your own question, Stephen. Don't stick your nose in and put your teammate into the dirt. But really, that's it. You got to be careful. You don't want to sacrifice your teammate because, I mean, it's easily done, as you said. So really, they want to work together. I mean, what did we see? We had the 3 teammates back to back down in the mid-pack there. And really, don't compromise each other's game plan. If somebody's got a little more pace, let them by. Don't race too hard against your teammate. Let's go for the team championship. As we take a look at Andrew Trickett coming to pit lane. Now, you see that? This is what I was talking about. That first stall there, as soon as you get it, it's a blind entry. And there's like a brick wall there. You can't see that first stall until you get to the cone, really. So if you're sitting there, it's a really tough spot to be in.
It's also going into a 3rd gear corner, so you are coming out at a hell of a pace to try and get it done. And unfortunately, it is one that you can also speed quite quickly into the pits. It's a 60-kilometer-hour pit lane that you got to really get the pace into, but can also kill you in time. Well, that being said, qualifying out of the way, and we're looking forward to the race.
We certainly are. 45 minutes of action. The drivers are going to have to stop for fuel. It's going to be a lot of fun here. And there's no runoff. It's pavement, or you're in the grass.
It's going to be all about the pace. It's all going to be about the fun. It's a nice warm day out in the UK. Track 33 degrees, temperature 19 means that we're in for a race of note. The question is, who is going to be able to stand at the top? It's going to be Tyler Cato that will be leading out the field ahead of William Frenson here at Throttle Freaks. And that front row going to be looking rather interesting. Travis Newsom will be holding on to third with Joshua Chinsky in fourth for our pro class. Jason Park will be first of our pro-am with Brett Thurman, David Morse, David Jensen in eighth. Ninth is Andrew Chickett, and Seb Goodyear holds on to that top 10. And third, the pro-am for qualifying.
Yeah, that's a good top 10. We've got Dave Bush at third in 11th. Don Provo in 12th. We've got Andrew Venaro in 13th, and Dale Peterson rounding out row 7 in 14th. And then we have a Caleb Sellner and Kevin Bergquist. In 17th, we have Jacob Fickner and Cesar Jimenez. 19th, Colin McKenzie. And rounding out your top 20, Ian Cabana.
Jeff Evans, followed by Chris Lum, will finish in 21st and 22nd for qualifying. They're going to have to keep ahead of Matt Sheriff, Nathan Doogie, James Hand, Andy Mills, Felix Feliz a little bit further down in 27th. 28th, Justin Welsh, Jack Polyak, and Jordan Walker round out your top 30.
Yeah, and in 31st, we've got Neil Alexander, Andrew Ellis at 32nd, Herbert Pineda 33rd, and Jay Steffi 34th. Jay Steffi did not set a qualifying time, I don't believe either of the last two did, so hopefully they make the starting grid.
So an interesting run being informed by Rob, our producer, a cameraman. What else can we say? That he's our virtual spectator.
The boss.
We could add that one without getting in too much trouble. But going and reporting that Jay Safi not on the grid as the cars get going. Tyler and William Fenson going to be starting out on the front row. The I-75 Motorsports and William Fenson of P. Fenson of Riot South will be hoping to get a solid run and break away from the field, because turn 1 is Podium Hill. And let the name not fool you, folks. It's one way to visit the sandpit by just outbraking yourself, especially with cold tires, but also the field barreling through can land up with a very, very difficult situation.
Yeah, I think that's Podium Hill, because you won't be on the podium if you spend too much time out in that sand. And take a look here as they're rounding out a short base lap here. Pace car coming in, that's going to leave Tyler Cato in control of the field. Tyler Cato gets to decide when to go. Tyler Cato going hard now, so Tyler Cato jumping out to an early lead. He's got his teammate Travis Newsom in behind. Looks like they're going 2 by 2 in behind, but right now it's Cato, Newsom, William Fence, Joshua Chinsky. Looks like something happened to Fence, and he's dropping way back.
Yeah, it looked like he turned in and Joshua Chinsky put his nose forward, gone and clipped William Fenson, and William with some serious damage to his car, trying to limp the car around. And we do have a little bit of chaos into turn 3. Jordan Walker going and getting it turned round, trying to get himself all sorted out and continue on with the race. A bit of a rough time for a couple of drivers, but Jason Park up into third, and Joshua Chinsky, who holds on to the back of the Riot Motorsports. Jason hoping that he can keep a stellar drive and also close up to the I-75 Motorsports that are running nose to tail, something we saw at Fuji, and they broke away for the field. I'm sure no one wants to see that happening again.
Well, no one wants to see it happening, but Cato and Newsom really got their game down pat. Newsom getting tucked right in behind right away. Take a little replay of the start, see what happened to William Fenson. William Fenson coming around the outside, Chinsky up the inside. Chinsky gets into the back. There's just, yeah, it's a tough spot. That's something the stewards warned us about, the race director warned us about turn 1. Just an unfortunate incident for William Fenson.
Jack Polyak also trying to get himself going, a little bit of a slow exit. Suddenly sees Fenson going and trying to get back onto the circuit, outbraked himself, went a little nudge against the rear of one of our Porsches. Jordan Walker, unfortunately, landed up getting his car turned round, under braking, throws it around the outside, a little bit of contact, 3 wide into turn 2, didn't quite work out, and Jordan Walker steering the wrong way down the field. Now just tried to get himself going, but is miles back. Neil Alexander getting a black flag early on, not even the first lap completed, and unfortunately Neil having to go back to the pits. So Neil Alexander down in 33rd, and it looks like maybe getting some serious repair work done to his car. Nathan Doogie as well, also diving to pit lane. So there is Neil Alexander with a lot of damage on his car. And Fenson just ahead of him. Oh, big spin off. And James Hans survived. I don't know how.
Oh, is that Ian Cabana or is that Kevin Berquist there?
That might be Nathan. That's Ian Cabana.
It is Ian Cabana. Oh my goodness, his car's looking very similar. But he's continuing to drive around. But anyways, back to live action, folks. David Morse up to 6th place. SRT driver in 1st place in class. Take a look here and see what happened. Ian Cabana coming in. Oh, lots of people going inside and not quite working out. Cabana get spun around a little bit. The other driver waiting for him, but that's going to be catastrophic for Ian Cabana.
It looked like James Hand going and giving him a hand by hooking on the inside. Not quite working out, but it's the I-75 Motorsports running 1-2 at the moment. 3 seconds up the road from Joshua Chinsky, the SRT Purple, who has got Jason Park, Brett Thurman, and David Morse closing up on him. The I-75 checking out of the fight early on as we go and take a look to our right-hand side. We've got Dale Peterson currently in 10th. He's in a monstrous train of note. Sean Provost ahead of him, and Andrew Trickett going and keeping him rather busy behind.
Wow, that is a monstrous train. What, we got 15 cars kind of lined up. Well, okay, maybe not that many. I exaggerate, folks, but certainly a big, long train as we're sitting here on lap 3. Cars spreading out a little bit, but when you got 33 cars on the track, there's not that much track space. But Sean Provo continuing to hold everybody off. He's got 9th place. He's up 3 positions on the day, and he's got a whole train of cars in behind him.
Andrew out in the BMW. Now that the tires are warming up, he's going to start to feel the grip coming to him, and you can see already Peterson trying to get a little bit ahead as we do have Sean into the dirt, loses out some time, and it was a near miss for Andrew Trickett, who had to dive quickly to the right-hand side to avoid any contact. Kevin Berquist, however, trying to see if he can move up a little bit slow going into turn 4, and now having Venoro going and putting a lot of pressure on him.
Wow, that was close. Kevin Berquist not able to take advantage. I thought he was going to get that move done, but thinking wiser of it and backing out, trying to preserve his race. We're only lap 4, 5 minutes into this 45-minute race, so there's probably at least another 28, 29 laps left to go. No sense taking unnecessary risk right now. Take a look at Dave Jensen. Dave Jensen, 7th place. He's 2nd in class. Leader in his class is David Morse. So David Morse, the amateur, leading in 6th over Dave Jensen in 7th. Amateurs having a solid effort tonight.
Some incredible racing. But now got to start talking about what's going to be the game plan, the strategy calls coming here at Brands Hatch, because the last thing you want to do is dive into the pits too early, get caught up in traffic. Also, too late can go and cost you a severe amount of time. Richard, I mean, these are factors that we have seen throughout the season. Now on one of the incredibly short circuits, actually one of the shortest circuits of the series. What's going to be the game plan for a lot of these drivers in the midfield, like David Bush III, currently in 11th, going after Andrew Trickett? When do you get into the pits if you're not able to move forward? And if you're going to stick out long enough, how far do you need to be ahead of the cars behind you?
I think if you're kind of stuck in a train there, and you're back in the midfield or a little further back, come in early. Get out of that train, get yourself some clean air, get yourself some clean track space. If you're right at the back, you may want to come in early. You don't want to get yourself lapped by coming in too early. So I know it's a balancing act, really. take a look at these drivers. Here's our Jimenez on the inside, currently in 16th place, with Jacob Fichtner 17th, where he started, all over the back of him. But they're also part of that 5-6 car train on the big screen. We've got David Busch III. David Busch III back to his normal pink or fuchsia colored Lamborghini, so certainly in 11th. And Herbert Pineda, not really accustomed to see him down in 30th place, but he's up 3 positions so far.
With the Ace Motorsports, Jeff Evans though going and having a bit of a moment in the Ford Mustang, and that looks to be Felix Feliz keeping him busy as he puts a wheel off circuit, managing to keep himself going. Felix tried to look for the inside, but just didn't quite have the pace to move forward. Herb Pineda though more than happy out in the Porsche, and as you gone and spoken about previously, a little bit into the dirt, it's all about keeping in some clear air. And well, so far he's in the clearest, no one behind, no one ahead of him. He's able to keep a solid go. Otherwise, Cesar Jimenez currently in 16th, got Caleb Sellner ahead of him, and Jacob Fichtner keeping the pressure behind. And it's got plenty to think about. Mirrors completely full, along with the front windscreen having the look of Caleb's car ahead of him. The Ferrari 296 just barreling on through.
Oh, that's a great in-car camera shot. Caleb Sellner, as we take a look at Caleb Sellner. Oh my goodness, I just love it. You don't see a whole lot out of these GT3 cars compared to the open wheelers I'm used to driving myself. So Caleb is sitting in 15th. We're taking a look at him staring at the back of the Ferrari of Andrew Finaro. Actually, we got Ferrari, 12th all the way through 15th place.
Great run nonetheless. Sean, however, trying to move up through the order, currently in 12th as he makes his way down past Druids in towards the Graham Hill bend, trying to get that little bit more pace underneath him, and also starting to open up a little bit more room to Bergquist behind, seeing if he can close up the distance to David Busch and try get within striking distance to get that pass done and dusted. No one's done the pit stops as yet, but so far it is going to be a thought process for the drivers, going and seeing what do we need to do, when can we get back into this race. And question is, are we going to see drivers that landed up with a problem early on in the race come back out onto circuit, get going once again, or is it going to be, well, keep it in the grandstands and watch the racing from the sidelines?
Yeah, I think some of them, their damage was pretty catastrophic. So, I mean, we've got drivers who are in the pits 5 minutes, 3 minutes. I mean, you can pull the car back out. It may not be fully recovered, but you're realistically not going to do too well, unfortunately. But take a look here. Seb Gauthier, Mr. Smiley Face, currently in 8th place. Yeah, Seb up 2 positions on the day, second in class, so second in Pro-Am, but he's got Dale Peterson about a second half behind him, looking to take advantage and maybe close that gap up, maybe jump Seb. So we'll see what happens as we continue on. Interesting here at Brands Hatch. I always like this track in terms of they do a lot of driving the other side of the curbs here in order to maximize your pace. I'm assuming that's AstroTurf or some sort of artificial turf, and sometimes the drivers have all 4 wheels way out there.
It is a bit of an AstroTurf to try and run out a little bit wide, but it's also quite slippery out there as well, as you can land up going a little too far, can land up losing drive on one side of the diff versus the other, and will get the car turned around. But another factor comes in, you drifted too wide, you'll land up picking up an incident point. This circuit is one of these tracks that you will land up picking up an incident point or 2 if you're going and racing hard. But if you start thinking about, okay, I'm going to land up getting an incident point, got to try and mind the curves, got to try and open the corners, you're going to slow yourself down by half a second easily when you're going through the back around turn 5, turn 6.
Yeah, you can certainly lose a lot of time as you take a look at Kevin Bergquist, currently 13th place. Taking a look, he's falling up behind Sean Provo. So Bergquist having himself a solid start to this race, up 3 positions. He qualified 16th. Man, oh man, Andrew Finaro also applying pressure. So great battling in this Ferrari mid-pack.
Wonderful to see, and everyone going and giving a hard push. No one having an advantage over one another. And Kevin Bergquist just trying to keep in the toe at the moment in a little bit of a slipstream problem. I do want to go and point out as Dave Jensen gets past one of our broken Ferraris, William Fenson still out there, still pushing despite having lack of aero on the nose. Dave Jensen, however, landing up a little bit wide, going and picking up an incident point, also managing to keep the car on track as he makes his way through Surtees. But he's now in a solid fight with Fenson, who has got a severe amount of damage to his car, but I don't think anyone's told him, hey, listen, you're missing a nose.
No, and if they did, he doesn't care because he came to race, so race he will. Oh no, Dave Jensen, a little replay here of how this all happened. That's how Dave Jensen lost all those positions, all the way down to 22nd, down 14 spots.
A little nick against the nose. I don't think it's going to be as much for Fenson, but take a look. Joshua Chinsky has closed up the gap of notes. Was 3 seconds adrift from the I-75, but it looks like he's picked up Newsom saying, hello, I found you, and now it's time to break the I-75 run. Let's see if the SRT can land up getting ahead of the I-75 as they battle for third overall and third in the pro class. Joshua Chinsky more than happy to go and apply huge amount of pressure. We've seen it in the past. Let's see if Travis Newsom, however, can keep it all together.
Yeah, that all said, we've got Ian Cabana just up ahead of them. So lap traffic starting to come into play here. We're only on lap 10 of this race, so it's going to be more and more traffic as the race progresses. Chinsky really applying the pressure now to Travis Newsom. Ian Cabana getting right out of the way, wanting no part of this. All that battling, though. Tyler Cato and Travis Newsom have separated now by almost 3 seconds. I don't think that was the plan for the team, but it is what it is, and Joshua Chinsky looking to take advantage and maybe get a hold of second place.
I mean, this is just a proper run. Chinsky trying to apply as much pressure as possible, trying to see if he can close up to Newsom, but a little bit further back, Colin McKenzie going and moving his way forward. William Fenson going and having the Michael Jackson nose job at the moment, still applying a fair amount of pressure to see if he can move forward, but it is Jeff Evans in the big pink Mustang going and keeping an eye on these two in the rearview mirror. But Fenson still sticking in for the fight. But we've got fights all around the circuit, as you pointed out, catching up to the back markers. This circuit is synonymous for getting busy, and we saw it with Newsom trying to utilize Ian Cabana as a bit of a tow. Didn't go and see him slowing down too much, nearly into the back of him on the main straight, and that's only going to get worse and worse as they start catching up to even fights like this in 21st position.
You know what, I can't believe the pace that William Fenson is showing right now. I mean, Fenson is, Jeff Evans, what a back driver, having a little bit of issues getting the back and coming around. It puts the nose into the wall, back on track now, but that's going to cost him dearly.
Let's quickly take a look at what happened. Did he put a wheel off into the dirt that spat him out as the Mustang went grazing? So ran out wide, clipped the dirt, got back onto the track. Unfortunately, a bit of dirt on the tires. It slipped the rear, and what a back into the wall, and that's all she wrote on that Mustang. Not quite how you want to take Brands Hatch. I would give the drifting about a 4 out of 10 there. Unfortunately, losing a fair amount of positions. Herbert Pineda trying to also make his way through. He's got a little bit of damage to the front left of his Porsche. Spins out, and it's James Hand there to duck out of the way. But Herbert pulling into the pits, towed back, and that unfortunately is going to throw him down the order.
Yeah, that's not the race Herbert's looking for. Obviously, the car and driver not performing as expected. I think Herbert calling it a night. He and Cabana, his problems continue, unfortunately. The car looks a little better, but obviously it's not quite all right. So we're going to go back up to the front, though, folks. Travis Newsom falling over 3 seconds behind his teammate, but you know who's not? Joshua Chinsky still continuing to apply pressure. I'm wondering if Joshua at this stage now is doing a little bit of strategy. or he's just having problems and not able to get that move done, because he's been real close for a number of laps now.
SRT Purple just not getting the drive out of the corners compared to the Porsches. The recent BOP change to iRacing has benefited the Porsches by having a little bit more top end. But the question comes down, can he sustain the pressure? Joshua Chinsky is all over the back of him and going left and right. So it looked like it was a bit of a rough call for Newsom into the dirt. He holds the inside line, heading into the long right-hander. Joshua Chinsky's going to try go around the outside. Couldn't get it done. Looked for the cutback. Couldn't quite go for the apex on the first. Try the second. Unfortunately, no room there. Travis Newsom stopping it dead on the apex, making the Porsche as wide as possible. Porky Pig holds back the Chev of note.
Yeah, he does that indeed. And Joshua Chinsky, I mean, that is a tremendous amount of pressure. He's really trying to force Travis Newsom to make a mistake, but so far, Newsom standing tall and making no mistakes at all. So going around here, we're going to start the next lap in just a moment. We're going to start lap number 13 or lap number 14. Travis Newsom doing a good job of holding off Joshua Chinsky, but how long can this continue?
I have no idea, but I sure as heck loving it. As you can see, Newsom is braking a little bit later. He's going off the apex into turn 2, and that's just allowing Chinsky in the Chevrolet to really close down the distance, utilizing some serious drive, especially coming out through this left-hander. You can see how he takes the corner a lot tighter, keeps the run. Unfortunately, it was a quick liftoff for Newsom, who was able to slow the car down, knocking Chinsky off cam, and opens up that slight 0.5 of a second gap. That also means that Chinsky has got enough pressure back onto the nose, helping out the aerodynamics. That means he can go a little bit quicker through the corners, close the distance once again. It's a yo-yo effect for Joshua Chinsky. Being a little bit back to Newsom actually helps him instead of being right on that bumper.
Yeah, well, that's all that battling and all that strategy and playing out's going on. Tyler Cato over 4 seconds ahead. So Tyler Cato, I'd normally say loving this, but probably not, because that's his teammate behind him, Colin McKenzie, is into the pits early. We've got, we're about 20 minutes into this race, so Colin McKenzie getting out of traffic and trying to get his service done.
You can only imagine what's happening on the radio call between them of, okay, Tyler, you're doing well out there, you're keeping it clean, and Travis going, can we be quiet? I'm busy. You know, don't talk to me in the corners at this stage of the game. But also, for the SRT team, they've got the benefit of communicating with one another. Each are on different parts of the circuit, so they're able to radio in where exactly there is fight and where exactly the back markers are. You're not just relying purely on the relative. That is a big benefit to being in a little bit of a bigger team, especially on a circuit like this, where a little bit of insight, a couple of corners up the road, can help you out at a later game. And I think Joshua Chinsky is going to be utilizing that quite a bit, chatting to the team of, listen, where is everyone, what's happening, and how many cars are in the way, trying to plan out his run. David Bush III, however, having a stellar run to move forward. Caleb Sellner as well for the Parabola Azure team, going and keeping on the back of the I-75 motorsport of Cesar Jimenez, who is just narrowly in front of him.
Caleb Sellner, right where he started. Not too many drivers in that position. Him and Tyler Cato come to mind. But you're coming into this corner here. This is always a tricky corner. I mean, you can carry a lot of speed through there, and Caleb Sellner and the rest of them doing that. But one thing I wanted to point out, maybe a little further up the field, we just briefly saw a glance of him, is David Morse. David Morse, currently our amateur leader. David Morse sitting in 6th place overall, folks. And he's holding off a Pro-Am, a 2nd place, a Seb Gauthier, who's his teammate. So a personal note, David Morse, since joining SRT, has improved tremendously. I'm not blowing smoke here. He's just having himself a fabulous season, and his pace has been tremendous. So right now, that David Morse having himself a solid effort.
Absolutely wonderful stuff. And now having his own teammate going and gunning it up on the inside. David Morse losing out the drive to Seb, but that is Travis Newsom. Big mistake for Newsom. He is down in third, and Jason Park smells blood in the water. Riot coming at the I-75, and Jason Park now looking at that third place, going, hang on, my opportunity's here, but it's a big one for Newsom. Unfortunately, dropping out of second, which means Chinsky is free to attack Tyler Cato further up the road.
Yeah, hopefully we've got a replay, and oh yes, producer man does have a replay. I was worried that maybe Chinsky had gotten into her and with Newsom, but no, that was Travis Newsom, unfortunately all on his own, first getting off into the grass, getting in the dirt, getting the tires a little dirty, coming around the next corner, back end kicked around in that Porsche, and that's all she wrote. So a little battle back here. Felix Feliz currently in 18th place. We're used to seeing him up a little further up the pack, but Felix Feliz getting that move done on Matt Scherf. So Matt Scherf now battling back hard, and he's going to take that. These two drivers side by side action, and there's only so much room here, folks. We're at Brands Hatch, and right now Felix Feliz, Matt Scherf having a tremendous battle side by side through, what's that, 4 corners in a row now? Scherf up ahead now.
Absolutely wonderful stuff for Chevrolet and Ford. We've seen the battles in the past. Felix Feliz going and giving a solid run to Matt Scherf, but Matt more than happy to swing it in and out. It was incredible to see the fight, but I don't think it's completely over as yet. They're just going to cool those tires down and get them back into it. Colin McKenzie coming out of the pits at the same time, and take a look at how close a 3-wide situation can be, because you're exiting pit lane on to turn 1, and as he was coming out there, we just saw in a quick shot Felix Feliz was trying to go for the inside in Podium Hill, and that is how difficult it is just to exit pit lane. But also you've got to have a lot of insight as drivers of whether you can go for the inside line and how much trust you have in the drivers not to just barrel out the pits as fast as possible. Felix Feliz down the inside once again. Matt trying to keep it together around the outside. Swings back for the cutback, heading towards turn 2. He's got the inside line. Late on the brakes once again. Felix Feliz stuck on the outside, trying to get the drive out. Will have the advantage going into the left-hander. Beautifully done. Well done. Oh, and Felix into the dirt. No, don't do that.
Yeah, all that. And, hey, we're not talking the lead or even a podium. This is 17th and 18th position. They're battling this hard, folks. And that's 25 minutes into the race. We take a look at Justin Welch. Backmarker Racing. Hey, I like that teammate. He's into the pits. That doesn't look good. Let's see what happened to Justin. Justin coming down here. Everything looks pretty much in order going down the straightaway. That's what you want to see. And, oh, looks like we may have had a little bit of a mechanical issue there.
That looks like hardware failure of note, and I know Mercedes are looking at some new aero packages for the AMG, but I don't quite think that's what they had in plan. Dale Peterson, however, trying to move forward, has got pressure from Andrew Trickett and David Bush III on the back of him. The Wright Motorsports losing a bit of time to David Morse further up the road, and Jason Block more than happy holding on to 4th, Peterson in 8th, Nathan Doogie 33rd, with Jay Staffy sitting in 34th. Overall, we have so far seen Nathan in a bit of trouble, but Dale further up the road, more than happy, still within that top 10.
Yeah, it's been an interesting race so far. I mean, we've had a number of retirements, a number of catastrophic incidents for several drivers, but the top 24 continue to soldier on. 24 out of 34, so we've pretty much had about 10 people having serious issues. But we're taking a look here. Jacob Fichtner sitting in 15th place. He's up 2 positions. He hasn't had anything too serious. He's following along behind Caleb Sellner. Caleb finally making a move. He's up 1 position. These are Jimenez up ahead. Kevin Berquist up ahead. A nice little, 5-6 car train here all the way here, and we're about 2/3 through this race.
Well, I'm just taking a look over to the paddock as well, and James Hand has retired after his contact with Ian Cabana. He feels bad for it, so he's in his race to show his regret and the problem that's come to it. And I just want to say, from a race and Nexus point of view, to James Hand, rather just get the car back out on the circuit. Yes, it sucks to be involved in the accident, but it's not going to be one to make a huge impact if you're not going to see it through to the checkered. Rather get the car back out on the track. You might not score the points that you want. You might feel that it's not worth being out there after a bit of contact, but at the same time, it is motorsport and contacts do happen. So hopefully James Hand can get that McLaren back out onto the track and see it through to the end, because nothing worse than having a car out of the race and also not being back out on circuit.
Yeah, that's for sure. And the other thing to consider is the stewards quite often impose a points penalty. So by coming back out, you can at least try and mitigate some of your points losses and maybe not turn it into a net negative. As we take a look on board, or not on board, following along here with Jason Park. Jason Park now trying to apply some pressures. Whoa, Tyler Cato coming into the pits. And it looks like a Travis Newsom diving in as well. So Josh Ruchinski assumes lead. Jason Park moves up to second, with the two I-75 Motorsports drivers coming in a little bit earlier than the rest.
Seb running into third as well. David Morse trying to move forward. So this is an interesting call coming in for the I-75 team to pull the drivers in a little bit earlier, seeing if they can get into fresh air. But the question is it going to work out? We've seen this with Josh Ruchinski before, where he's able to stretch his legs a little bit longer than the field and is able to run the race through till the very end. We saw at Spa and also Sebring where it landed up. He stretched it right until the last minute to maintain a lead, and so far been running 121.8 as his last lap. His best is a 121.8. He's consistently in the 21s, so just on pure pace can possibly go and stop the undercut.
Man, you know, I wish I was young as you, Steven, because I can't remember yesterday, let alone what happened 4 races ago. But if you say it, it must be true. As we take a look at Dale Peterson. Hey, speaking of what's going on here with these pit stops, Travis Newsom came in early, and I'm wondering what that's going to do now, because now Travis Newsom is going to be kind of in the middle of a bunch of other cars. So really going to be interesting what happens. But Jason Park now assumes control of this race. Josh Ruchinski into the pits. So Jason Park continuing on. Seb Gauthier, it looks like he's going to continue on. And Josh Ruchinski is in the pits and now back out.
And right behind Tyler in the mix. Tyler not too far up the road, caught up in traffic with David Bush III. Remember, they're in a fight. David Bush, Andrew Trickett, Dale Peterson up ahead are in a fight. They have no reason to jump out of the way. Yes, Tyler, you're quick, but now you have to get through the fight, and Josh Ruchinski is right on his tail and will be applying that pressure. I would love to be a fly inside this car and just hearing of, come on guys, please, just give me the opportunity, just a little piece, just an inch off the line, come on, because Chinsky is playing the Jaws theme song closer and closer to the I-75. This is not what they had in plan. They wanted free, clean air, and what they got is a 3-way fight between Peterson, Trickett, and Bush.
Yeah, well, you're seeing here on the screen here in the new graphics by producer Rob Campbell, the striking distance. We can see that striking distance coming way down. When it first went up, it was well over 2 seconds. Now, with that little traffic train up ahead of Josh Ruchinski closing it down to 1.3 seconds. So right now, the rest of the drivers finally diving into the pits, and Tyler Cato going, thank goodness I got some clear track now. That's going to take Tyler Cato up first, Josh Ruchinski in second. We're going to see where everybody washes out in just a matter of moments, folks.
Now, what's the key to turn off the virtual mirrors and turn off all the mirrors so you don't see what's behind you? Jason Park, however, up into third ahead of Travis Newsom, and didn't quite expect to be up there, but now Jason Park smiling ear to ear, first in the Pro-Am class, and what it would be to finish third overall here at Brands Hatch for Throttle Freaks Week 7. Brett Thurman back center, trying to close up as well. He's holding on to 5th place and absolutely applying the pressure to Travis Newsom. It's been a while since we've seen Thurman go up against Newsom? Well, it looks like we might relive some of the earlier battles early this season.
You know one person hasn't pitted yet is Jack Polyak. Somehow he's managed to limp that BMW, or I should say limp it, but get around one more lap than everybody else. So he's the last person to make the pit stop. Everybody else battling. Brett Thurman having a solid effort. Nice to see him up there in 5th place.
Eco mode is a real thing with BMWs, and he's managed to find the button that works rather well.
Oh, that was solid. Back in the midfield, Andrew Venaro sitting there having himself a solid battle here with Kevin Berquist up ahead, Caleb Sellner behind. We still got this little 4-car Ferrari train. It's spread out a little bit, but Kevin Berquist having himself a solid effort in 13th. Is Craigie Sports teammate Igabana not so fortunate with that earlier incident down in 27th.
It's still cycling around, still trying to get going. Jack Polyak finally getting into the pits. It looks like the BMW running out of 95. They will have to go and get that car sorted out. Kevin Berquist, however, is handling a lot of pressure. Andrew Trickett, who was further up, unfortunately twisted around, trying to bring the car back as the entirety of the field comes barreling on by. He rejoins, but is definitely going to be muttering a few words of confidence there.
Yeah, lost 8 positions with this spin here. Looks, yeah, and no contact from anybody. It didn't look like, just a little too generous on the throttle at the wrong spot. So unfortunate going down. But Kevin Berquist continuing to have himself that battle with Andrew Venaro. Solid battles in the mid pack. Tyler Cato looking behind him now a little bit because Joshua Chinsky, he was saving something because he's applying all kinds of pressure. Made up 6/10 on the last lap, and he's all over the back of Tyler Cato now.
And Joshua Chinsky a little bit quicker on the last lap at 122.1 to Tyler's 122.7. Jason Park also a little bit quicker, set with 122.5, with Travis Newsom doing the same. So for Tyler, he's starting to feel that pressure. He's starting to understand there's a bit of an issue here, but also now getting caught into back markers. Jordan Walker going to be the first one, as it's a quick look down the inside for Tyler, and it is going to be a rough one. Jordan getting told, listen, barrel off the circuit. I'm taking the inside line, whether you like it or not. I don't think Jordan was too aware of the Porsche barreling down the inside, and suddenly, where did you come from going through the helmet?
Yeah, Tyler Cato, seeing that gap close down, and I think a lot of that had to do with some traffic. So him saying, I'm not going to wait any longer than I have to. Take a look at Jordan Walker, the Parabol Cobalt driver, having the back end of that Porsche just kick out on a little bit, but no harm, no foul, no walls hit, and no positions really lost there either. Just a little bit of a time lost as we take a look at the leaders coming up here. And the leaders, this is a little bit of a replay as we take a look at whoa, I didn't see it coming. I'm sorry, Tyler. Jordan Walker diving out of the way at the last possible second.
Oh, don't worry, guys. I know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna send it. It was definitely with Tyler's words there. It didn't quite help out too much as Joshua Chinsky still keeping the pressure on. The next one to go and see these two 7 seconds up the road. Chris Love and Andrew Ellis will be keeping a very close eye on their deltas and seeing these two barrel their way through with 9 minutes to go. The question is, who is going to become postman Pat and lick it and send it? David Bush going after David Morse as they also giving it everything. They got the battle of the Italians, Lamborghini versus Ferrari. I tend to lean on the Lamborghini because it looks a bit prettier than the 296. Nothing wrong about the 296. I just think it was a very confused Ferrari, while the Lamborghini sounds amazing out of all of them. Why scrap the 488? Why Ferrari?
Well, because they don't know what, I mean, I've had the pleasure of driving the 488 as well as, I forget which, it might have been the Murcielago, and, nothing sounds like a Lambo. Let's be honest. I mean, David Busch the third, though, he's kind of he's the meat in a double stacked Ferrari sandwich. He's got 2 Ferraris ahead of him. He's got 3 Ferraris behind him. David Busch the third, applying some pressure to David Morse. David Morse lost a little bit of time in the pits there. He's down to 8th, but a solid effort and first in class. David Busch third in 9th, looking to get one more position up.
This is absolutely phenomenal racing. This is Throttle Freaks. This is what we come to expect. The entire season has been nose to tail racing. The field have been putting on a great show, and it's not done as yet, as well. David Busch III going and visiting a bit of the dirt, kicking it all up. A very expensive lawnmower. Lamborghini did start out making tractors, but I don't think the Hurricane Evo 2 is close to that old great-great-grandfather. But David Morse soaking the pressure up for the SRT Black team. More than happy on a stellar run for him, and also leading out the GT3 AM, keeping yourself in the top 10. A phenomenal run on his part.
Certainly is. And on the inside, just take a look here. We don't have the inside anymore. I'm a little late, but Tyler Cato's stretched it out by just over a second over Josh Ruchinski. But Tyler Cato, he's got Andy Mills up ahead of him. Got to get by quick. The SRT teammate of Ruchinski holding him up just a little bit here. And now he moves over, lets Tyler Cato go by at the earliest opportunity. So Cato, Chinsky made a couple of tenths up there. But if Tyler Cato can avoid traffic, the next one is Chris Lam, and he's about 4.5 seconds up ahead. So really, Cato wants to see anything but cars.
This is definitely going to be one of, I'm going to look away from names. I want to see teams to know exactly who's around. The SRT team are definitely going to make it a little more difficult for you to get on by. And for Tyler, he's on a bit of a whack at the moment, trying to run away. With 6 minutes to go, the last thing you want to see is 3 letters, the 3 most dangerous letters in Brands Hatch, and it's not going to be something from start with an R. It is SRT that are going to be holding you at bay.
Yeah, and the Throttle Freaks League stewards are very serious about their rulings. If you're a lapped car, you have to move over at the earliest opportunity. So, so far so good. We take a look here at Jacob Figner, another SRT team. Jacob Figner applying some pressure to Hazer Jimenez. So, my goodness. I mean, we got battles up and down. We're 40 minutes into this race. He's battling for 14th, 15th spot, and there's battles even deeper into the field. So that's what we love about these tight old British racetracks, and league racing makes for a great combination of close racing.
It's all about going and giving it all. A circuit that's held Grand Prix, a circuit that has held some of the best sports car racing, now home to Throttle Freaks for the first time in the series. It's Jeff Evans going and having a go. He's trying to move up through the order, currently in 19th position. And I think everyone's going to be looking back at this track saying, let's do this again. This was fun. Jeff Evans fighting against Jack Polyak.
I don't think everyone.
Fair enough. Jack Polyak, though, is most certainly the fuel whisperer and still managing to hold himself into the top 20. Gotta say, well done to Jack at this stage of the game. But Jeff is applying every bit of pressure that he can to see if he can make up at least one more position and to move up in the last 4 minutes of this race.
You know, all that going on. Our biggest mover and shaker today, Felix Feliz. Started 27th. He's up to 13th. So 14 positions gained. Solid effort. So great job there. But we go back up to the front here now. Tyler Cato really closing in on Chris Lam. So right now, Chris Lam's just half a second up ahead of him. Joshua Chinsky closing it back down. Joshua Chinsky just a half second behind. Tyler Cato's really got to make a short work of this opportunity and get by Chris Lam as quickly as possible. Currently in 21st place. Chris Lam right now, he's got his next driver up ahead of him is 11 seconds up. So I'd expect him to get out of the way as soon as he can. Really, Tyler Cato diving up, trying to get that position. And Chris Lom moving over, letting him take up the inside. See if Joshua Chinsky does not get by in that corner. So Chinsky now going to get by on the next corner. So the battle goes on, folks. They're only half a second apart. Tyler Cato, Joshua Chinsky. We're running out of time. We're running out of laps.
Oh, this is a definite difficult situation there. Well, Richard, I'm going to keep going and ask you. Between the two, Chinsky or Tyler Cato, who do you think's going to get it? Two incredibly quick drivers, two incredibly quick teams on one busy circuit with roughly 3 laps left in this race. Who would you put your money on right now, as we do see Travis Newsom holding on to 4th place? He's behind Jason Park, fighting for the final step on the podium.
Yeah, I'm not picking a horse in this race, because odds are we're gonna have to interview both of these guys, and I don't need to hear any backlash. But the preferred spot to be at this track, it's not a huge drafting track. You want to be up front, and right now, front position is Tyler Cato. Tyler Cato's got 4.5 seconds to Ian Cabana up ahead, so I don't expect Cabana to be any much of traffic. It's just these two drivers, and without traffic, Cato so far has demonstrated he's got just a little more pace than Chinsky. Maybe Chinsky's holding something back, though. We'll find out.
Travis Newsom still putting up a solid fight against Jason Park a little bit further back. So it's just a incredible race up and down through the field. 1 minute and 50 seconds left as they enter and exit Podium Hill, heading up towards turn 2. It's going to be late on the brakes, and Chinsky in that Chev very close and late on the anchors to get it all together. Oh, Tyler getting out of shape, out of 2, clipping the dirt. Pressure starting to come into play. Definitely watching his mirrors. Chinsky going and throwing the car around. Newsom dives up the inside of Park into 2. Is able to get it done and dusted. Jason Park down into 4th. Brett Thurman now seeing an opportunity to close up the distance as well. Currently 4th in class and having a solid fight. Our leaders making their way through the back section, and Tyler runs off into the dirt. So does Joshua Chinsky. Both these drivers are throwing caution to the wind. They are absolutely loving this. They are going and fighting tooth and nail, and I think both drivers are going and giving it everything they got, leaving nothing to chance.
Yeah, that all said, they're closing in on Ian Cabana really quickly. So you're going to come around here to take the white flag. So right now, we've got Tyler Cato and Joshua Chinsky nose to tail. Only one of them can get to the top of the podium. Who's it going to be? And then we've got that battle for third still between Travis Newsom and Jason Park. So it's Cato, Chinsky for battling for first. We got Newsom and Park battling for second. Chinsky sticking the nose up, trying to get on the inside. Tyler Cato doing a great job of holding him off. Right now, Chinsky doing everything he can, and Ian Cabana lurks just up ahead. They close this down right quick. Chinsky sticking it up the inside. Oh, getting into the side of Tyler Cato. Chinsky doing the honorable thing, waiting, letting Cato get back underway. Yes, this is a wise decision. Chinsky, a gentlemanly racer here. These two drivers are going to battle it out to the end. Cato, Chinsky, we'll see what happens.
And David Bush III also falling down the order. It looks like he's run into a bit of a problem. Let's take a look at it. Joshua Chinsky tried to bleed off the brakes a little bit early, clipped the rear. Thankfully, no major off, but not enough time for Joshua Chinsky to go for the lead. It's going to have to be a Hail Mary to get it done and dusted as they make their way through Surtees. It's now down to the wire. 1 corner to go. Tyler looks like he survived the pressure. He's past Ian Cabana. Tyler Cato will take the victory ahead of Joshua Chinsky down to the wire. What a race! What a drive!
Oh, that was phenomenal racing. We take a look here at Travis Newsom. Travis Newsom, he's got Jason Park coming out of the back of him, but Travis Newsom going to hold off Jason Park. That late pass allows Travis Newsom back on the podium. Jason Park 4th. We've got Brett Thurman 5th. A little bit deeper in the field, Kevin Bergquist. Kevin Bergquist sitting in 11th. He's got Caleb Sellner up ahead, but a little too far back right now to make a move.
Absolutely stellar drive. Jason Park will take the victory in the GT3 Pro-Am. David Morse will look to take the victory in the AM class. Sellner who holds on to the last of the top 10, will get second in the GT3 AM class ahead of Bergquist. And what a fight. Felix Feliz also going and moving up to 12th position. He looked to try and do a mad dash. Andrew Trickett finishing ahead of David Bush III. And me and Jing to have a solid run. Jeff Evans a little bit further back. Jack Polyak as the rest of the cars coming across the line. What a race here at Brands Hatch. This is why I love the circuit. This is why I think it's one of the best tracks in any sim to go racing. It doesn't matter if you're in a Formula V, in a sports car, in a prototype, you get to have some incredibly close racing, and you are not going to be alone. No matter where you are on circuit, you're always going to have someone to party with.
You're always going to have someone to party with. Very tough track to pass. Lots of possibilities of trauma, shall we say. We saw evidence of that tonight, but what an outstanding and exciting race.
Absolutely incredible. A little bit out of breath there, that's for certain, as we do get the I-75 Motorsports doing a bit of a donut and just sharing off a little bit of chaos on the circuit just before Podium Hill. And what a drive by Tyler and Travis, the I-75, putting themselves back onto the podium yet again, and the SLT team going and throwing the best shots. Tyler Cateau, who will hold on to first place ahead of results.
These are qualifying results here. We'll just
there we go. Tyler Cateau will lead out ahead of Joshua Chinsky in second. Travis Newsom holds on to third place. It's Brett Thurman in fourth, and Matt Sheriff holds on to the top 5 for our GT3 Pro.
In the GT3 Pro-Am, Jason Park comes in first. Seb Goche back on the podium in second. Dale Peterson finishing out in a third. Andrew Vernaro and Ken Bergquist round out your top 5.
And with our GT3 AM, it's David Morse ahead of Caleb Selner. Cesar Jimenez finishing up in third place. Chris Lum ahead of Andy Mills, rounding out our top 5 for our GT3 AM.
Was lots of great racing all the way up and down the field. Very surprised, somewhat surprised to see Travis Newsom manage to get it back on the podium.
Oh, well, it's all down to pure effort, and, well, he definitely wanted to hold on to it. That being said, we got to have a chat to the drivers after a race of note, and I don't think any of them are going to be fresh as a daisy, that's for certain. With our leader going and taking the first step on the podium, Tyler Cateau going and keeping a stellar run and having the mad dash down to the line. Let's have a chat to Tyler. Tyler, welcome to the commentary box. What a race out there. Take us through this, because it looked like a mad dash after an early breakaway.
Well, it was a lot of fun up until the pits. I was just by myself, and then Chinsky's pit lane times need to be studied because they're a work of art with how much time he can gain. But after that, well, before that also, Travis holding up Chinsky as much as possible, like while they were racing, really helped me. If he didn't, then he would have just passed me in the pits.
Now, I've got to ask, you and Chinsky fighting it left, right, and center. We saw how it was just a mad dash to get around some of the back markers. Jordan Walker nearly slamming the door shut on you. I mean, these are moments that I'm sure had a heart and mouth sort of run, and going and taking a deep breath around a very difficult circuit.
Yeah, it was really weird when, 4 minutes left in the race and an SRT boy pulls out in front of you and doesn't get over. That was kind of frustrating. And then coming out of the pits, I was in traffic also, and that really didn't help me out. And then I look down and I see that Chinsky's made up. He's like 1.5 seconds behind me, and every single pour just was starting to get moist as the last couple of laps went on, and then the coming together and so on and so forth.
With that being said, you survived the pressure, you kept it down to the wire, and I'm sure this is definitely going to be one of your top 10 moments for the season to go and finish out 0.4 of a second ahead of Joshua Chinsky right down to the wire. Anything you'd like to say to the drivers and teams out there that you get to have a bit of fun here at Throttle Freaks, to everyone out in the Racer Nexus virtual grandstands that were on their feet shouting from the rooftops as you had the stellar battle down to the wire?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all my fans for coming out to the race, but I do want to thank all of you guys for putting on this, of course, and then everybody here is very competitive. I'm glad Chinsky's back this week, so I could, actually get a win this week instead of, Travis letting me get the win. I was hoping he'd stick with me so I could give it back to him, but it didn't happen. But yeah, thank you guys. You guys do an amazing job with the broadcast. Throttle Freaks is a fantastic league. I really like racing here. Thanks to my girlfriend. Thanks to, everyone, I-75, blah, 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 blah. Thank you guys.
Absolutely wonderful stuff. Tyler Cateau, well done on a stellar drive, and we look forward to having a chat with you soon. What a race there. But Richard, I mean, Tyler getting 0.4 of a second, and now you got to get hold of Joshua Chinsky after that fight.
We've got Joshua Chinsky in the booth. Joshua, that was an exciting race.
Yeah, that was it was a rough one. Just mentally. I mean, I was talking to my teammates before of where Brands Hatch, there's a decent amount of circuits on iRacing, but Brands Hatch is one of the ones of where you don't get what I call a brain break, of where it is pretty much your neurons are firing the whole time. Didn't help that I was sick too, so trying to battle through a stuffy nose. Well,
I mean, originally I thought you were going to miss this race and next race, but fortunately you were here. Travis Newsom and you had a tremendous battle for a long time. It took you a long time to get by him, but once you came out of that pits, I mean, your pit stop was stellar. I mean, the time you spent in pit lane, were you saving some fuel, or did you just eke it out and just barely cross that line with anything in the tank?
No, I mean, I was able to make it a couple corners. I wasn't like intentionally trying to fuel save. I was just more trying to keep the tires alive, and I think that the fuel saving came from it. Of just lifting through a couple corners, trying to keep that front left from getting torched. But yeah, absolutely fantastic battle between Newsom and I. I mean, it definitely, he played the team game very, very well. And I don't know if it was intentional to play the team game, but if it was fantastic. Because that battling definitely let Kato pull ahead just enough to where I really only had one shot at him at the end of the race.
Yeah, that one shot unfortunately didn't work out, but you did the honorable thing. You let Tyler you waited for him, let him get that position back. But second place, solid effort. And next week go to Adelaide, and be interesting to see how you do there in the Corvette. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to tonight, Joshua?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, shout out to Dave Moores for winning his for his division. Just absolutely fantastic from Dave, of everything that he's been showcasing this year. Whole lot of improvement.
You know what? I gave him a shout out during the broadcast for that, so I concur. But yeah, continue on, Joshua. Sorry.
Yeah, shout out to the mom and dad for watching. I appreciate your guys' support. SRT, as always, you guys have been my sim racing home. I'm the driver I am today because of you guys. And then shout out to Racer Nexus for you guys putting on just a great broadcast. And then Throttle Freaks. Just again, I can't say enough about the series. It's a fantastic group of people to race with week after week, and we've really built a more than just a league, a nice community here. So, yeah, looking forward to the next couple weeks to finish the season out. Thankfully, I am going to be saved from missing races. Work reneged on sending me out to Iowa, so I will be here to finish out the championship. I know. It's a real bummer for everyone else. But no, I've got a great group of competition here. I mean, and it's still, all it takes is one race, one bad race from me, and it's just everybody's right back into the fray. And even now, I mean, I think I got to get top 5s from this point out with no mistakes to just be safe. And I mean, Summit Point, I make mistakes. So it's, yeah, it'll be a close battle to the end.
Well, we shall see. We'll see what happens next week, and looking forward to seeing you racing next week at Adelaide. Thanks, Joshua.
Awesome. See you guys.
I've got to say, some excitement there, but you can also hear a little bit of caught up. Let's talk about first in the GT3 Pro-Am, fighting for 3rd overall. Jason Park, welcome to the commentary box. What a race for you, bud. How are you feeling after that one?
Oh, sweaty, just like last week. But yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't hold Travis off at the end there, but definitely happy with my first, I think, Pro-Am win.
I mean, take us through the race. You were on a stellar charge in qualifying. You kept your nose clean, and then all of a sudden, 3rd place in front of you. Overall, I'm sure that the thought process was, this is my opportunity. I'm going to give it everything I got. You had pressure from the back. You had Brett Thurman coming at you. You had Seb Goods here trying to close up the gap. Unfortunately, couldn't get close enough to try and take away that 1st place, but you had a monster fight amongst the pros.
Yeah, thank you. That was a lot of fun. I had a pretty good pit. I think I jumped 2 guys with the overcut, and I was able to hold Brett back. And yeah, it was just the whole race. I felt like I was fighting somebody off, and the 2 guys up front, they were just too quick to catch. So yeah, good result for myself and Team Riot.
With that being said, looking at Adelaide next week, what's the game plan for you to put the car back on the top, to go and extend some points in the lead for the championship, and also to go and get yet another win underneath your belt?
Yeah, that'd be nice, but I'm going to miss next week. I'm off to Italy for the week, so yeah, I'm going to have to miss that one.
That's rather unfortunate, but we hope you enjoy your trip to Italy. Make sure you snap a few photos and bring back a fridge magnet for Richard and myself.
Yeah, will do. Thanks, guys.
Well, that being said, before we let you go, anything you want to say to all those out in the virtual grandstands that got to cheer you on here tonight, the whole Riot team, and also to the drivers and teams that you got to battle out against the circuit?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to the drivers today for the clean racing, anybody watching, and as always, Team Riot and you guys in the booth. Thanks, guys.
Jason Park of Team Riot taking the victory in the GT3 Pro-Am. Richard, I mean, what a stellar drive on his part.
Hey, and in the booth now, Seb Goche. Seb, where have you been, man?
It's been a while. You know what, man? I don't win races. I don't usually get podiums, but I always finish. I'm always top 10. It's just, I just don't make the cut for these interviews.
Well, I feel you there, but tonight you had a solid race. You and teammate David Morris were having quite the battle up until the pit stops. That was quite interesting to watch.
Yeah, we kind of agreed, though, that we wouldn't battle too hard. You know, we're both looking at maybe winning our respective championships, so we're finishing's the priority.
That was an interesting race at Brands Hatch. How did you think it played out overall for all of the competitors?
Well, for me, I was basically, after the pit stop, like you mentioned, I was basically hot lapping. I had like a 10-second gap to, I think it was Brett in front of me, and a 7-second gap to Dale behind me. So it was easy for me to just coast the rest of the race, keep my 2 incident points, get my extra point. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to go back and review and watch the feed again. I saw a wreck turn 1 and apparently an accident on the last lap too with Chinsky and Tyler that I'm curious to see.
Yeah, that was a little interesting, but yeah, it can get a little boring. But I mean, you had your fun before the pit stops. You earned your place. You earned your second and your interview. Next week we're at Adelaide. How's that going to work out for you in the Porsche?
Oh, I love Adelaide, and I love that I made the switch from the Lambo to the Porsche for that track. It'll be great.
Oh, that's awesome. We're looking forward to seeing how it goes. Anybody like to give thanks to or shout out to tonight, Seb?
Yeah, you know, the usual, the wife and the kids who are asleep now, you know, baby Jesus, all that.
Right on. Well, thanks, lads. I hope we get to talk to you again real soon.
All right, see you later.
Good night.
Still one always have to go mention the family, but Dale Peterson managing to hook in a third in our GT3 Pro-Am. Dale, welcome to the commentary box, and I think you had arguments with BMWs, Ferraris, Mustangs, everything around the circuit. How are you feeling managing to capture third place, but also not being alone at any point of this race?
Relieved that it's over. I feel like I need a shower. That was a lot of work tonight.
I mean,
Yeah,
a stellar run on your part. Take us through some of the fights with going after Andrew Trickett, getting around him, managing to defend, but at the same time trying to close the gap to Seb. But it just seemed like you were fighting amongst separate classes at the same time.
Yeah, it was all pretty close racing before the pits, and then I got through the pits pretty quick, managed to jump Dave in the pits, and then there was a whole gaggle of us. I think there was 4 or 5 cars altogether when we came out of the pits, and got a little hairy into turn 2, I guess there. That's when Andrew spun. So it was unfortunate to see that, but good that it was clean race and nobody got into each other, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely well fun to sit here in the commentary box and get to see it. Now with Adelaide next week, what's your game plan to get yourself back onto the podium to keep the team moving forward and starting a riot among some of these absolute pros out on the track?
Yeah, well, it was a good night for Riot tonight with my partner Jason up there in 4th. So I think we both had pretty good success the last time we were at Adelaide. And, you know, I think it's similar to Brands Hatch, just has walls everywhere. But it's that same sort of feeling. So I like the track. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely wonderful stuff. Well, before we let you go to enjoy the celebration and go have a shower, anything you'd like to say to all the drivers and teams here at Throttle Freaks, and also to our virtual grandstand out on Racer Nexus that we're cheering you on during your mighty fight amongst different manufacturers?
Well, just thanks to everybody at Throttle Freaks for running the league. It's a lot of these guys we've been racing together for a lot of years, and it's familiar and it's fun every Tuesday night, and I look forward to it. It's my one race a week, so hopefully it stays for a while.
Well, you made it count. You got the 3rd place in class. Well done, Dale Pearson, and we look forward to having a chat with you next week on a stellar effort.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks very much.
And with that being said, our final driver, Richard, you've managed to catch up with David Morse taking the victory in the GT3 AM.
Hey, congratulations, Dave. This is becoming a little familiar.
Hey, it's been a few weeks. You guys haven't talked to me. You didn't care where I went. I was kind of hurt.
Well, we certainly talked a lot about you tonight. That was a solid effort. I mean, you were right up there in the mix in the middle of the top 10 for the longest time up until the pits, and hey, still finished 8th. I mean, you were ahead of Seb Gauthier for the longest time up until the pit stops. You teammates, and wow, I mean, solid effort.
Well, Seb was getting caught from behind. So in practice, I chase Seb. That's what I do when we have all our team practices. So I said, Seb, you go, and I chased him, and then we actually pulled out a gap. So it was better for me to chase him than have him behind me. So that was really helpful. This place is just dangerous.
That's for sure. We certainly saw some of that danger. Fortunately for us, we weren't involved in any of it in the booth. We just thought about it. But next week, we're going off to Adelaide, another track that can be dangerous. How do you think you're going to fare there?
Well, last time I raced there, I got taken out. But I am pretty quick there. But again, that's another difficult track. So we'll do a lot of prep. I think I did a total 250 laps this week preparing because this place is just tough. Well, I'm old. David, you got to do more work.
Well, I'm old too, David. We used to race together way back in the old league days, and
Yep.
You've improved by leaps and bounds, and I think your commitment and your practice time and your work with SRT is certainly paying off. So we're looking forward to see what you can do next week. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
The team, they believed in me when I didn't. And now I actually am starting to have some confidence, which is nice. But the team really helps. And my wife, Lori, for tolerating me being down here about 4 nights a week for 3 hours.
Oh, excellent. Well, David, congratulations once again. We'll see you next week, and we hope to chat with you again real soon.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for the broadcast.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, with that being said, interviews over, Brands Hatch over, and looking forward to Adelaide. Richard, I mean, this has been an incredible race, and if this marks of how the season is getting towards its end, I can't wait to see the battles coming up. Some impressive circuits, some impressive racing, and also the charge to the sharp end to become champion across 3 different class drivers, a team championship on the line. It's going to be an absolutely mental run as we head over to round 8 out of 10 next week at Adelaide.
It certainly is, and that's going to be a lot of excitement. I think we're going to hopefully not see too many cars into the concrete, but I think there's going to be a few. But anyhow, that was an exhilarating race. We had a lot of fun. I think a lot of the racers had a lot of fun. Lots of action. I'm Richard Swindells. In the booth with me, as always, Stephen Koenig. Thanks to Rob Campbell for doing a great job in production. We are Racer Nexus. Thank you, Throttle Freaks, for putting on the show.